want a computer, specifically a MacBook. But anything worth having is going to cost you close to $1,500. But you can get an iPad, but it's not a computer. What about when you need to type? What about when there's certain documents you need to download? What about when you're writing a super long essay? It's still not a computer. Enter the Logitech Folio Touch. And here's my review on how to turn your iPad into a computer. Check it out. So Apple has received their fair share of criticism for their iPads just being overgrown reiterations of their iPhones. But since the release of iPadOS 13, it's all been changing for the iPad. And you're seeing more and more people using an iPad as their daily machine for editing videos, writing essays, and using it as their everyday computer. Now with the Logitech Folio Touch, I'm not saying you're getting a fully spec'd out 16-inch MacBook Pro or one of their M1 products that just came out, but if you have an iPad Air 4th generation, in addition with the Folio Touch, you're getting a pretty good product. The Logitech Folio Touch is going to run you $160. Apple's Magic Keyboard starts at $300 just for the 11-inch and $350 for the 12.9-inch iPad. And unfortunately, the Folio Touch isn't even available for the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. So the Folio Touch comes with a magnetic latch, even with a slot to insert the Apple Pencil, or more like an Apple Pencil holder. There's an opening for the fingerprint scanner, a cutout for the speaker, and the charging ports. The 3 pins on the back of the case for the smart connector fit with the new iPad 4th generation. So there's no need to connect the Folio Touch via Bluetooth or to power it with batteries or anything like that. What's great about the Folio Touch being made by Logitech is that Logitech is the only company that has access to Apple's API, and that can use Apple's smart connector in their accessories. So again, like I said, the smart connector allows for instant pairing and power directly from the iPad to the Folio Touch's keyboard case. You'll also need to download the Logitech app for keyboard and firmware updates. So the size of the Folio Touch for the 11-inch iPad is just right. I was a stickler for really wanting the 12.9-inch iPad, wanting the bigger screen, the bigger keyboard, but I have yet to have any issues with needing to maneuver my wrists because the palm rest area is too small. I find it just to be the right size, especially me being someone with bigger hands. In terms of the keyboard, I have to say the button response is just right, or satisfactory. I say satisfactory because for my current use case, the response I get from pressing them is good, especially considering how fairly thin the keyboard is. But if you are a student working in a library or a quiet floor in the library, this could raise a little bit of concern, especially because you do hear a little bit of clicking and clacking from pressing the keyboards, especially if you may be someone that types close to 40 or 50 words per minute. I can see you drawing a little bit of attention from the people around you who may be trying to study or who may be trying to read. So one thing that's really great about the Folio Touch is the keyboard, but not just the keyboard, the function row. This is one of the areas where you will very well pick this Folio Touch keyboard over the Apple's Magic Keyboard. Is the function row. There's an escape button. You can control the backlight on the keyboard. You can press one of the buttons and call the on-screen keyboard to rise up. There's a search button. You can control the backlight of the iPad itself. If you're listening to Spotify or Apple Music or some music on your YouTube playlist, you can play or pause, skip, and go back tracks in the function row. You can choose to mute what you're listening to. There's also a volume up and down. And finally, if you do have to step away from your iPad or your laptop, there's a quick lock button.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
I'm not just entertained, I'm actually pretty impressed. Now, a trackpad or a touchpad is one of those things that can separate a good keyboard from a bad keyboard. And the trackpad's functionality separates the great keyboards from the bad ones. What's great about this, it has all the gesture controls that you would have, especially if you were using the iPad with your fingers, and you can choose whether or not you want to press to click or tap to select in the options menu. So as much as this is a keyboard, it's also a case. There are rubber bumpers that encase the iPad, especially if this iPad were going into a purse or a backpack, or especially if you live in a place where other people may be using or handling your iPad. It would be a great idea to make sure that your iPad has some level of protection. So one thing that I do find pretty cool about the Folio Touch is its ability to use it as a tablet. Granted, you want this to be a laptop or some type of computer, you get to use it as a tablet. But with the Folio Touch, you can actually go all the way back and use it as your regular iPad. The only unfortunate thing is, the only con here is that you kind of get stuck with a bulkier iPad, if you will. Yeah, a little bulky. Now, there are just a couple cons. Just the fabric material. I do like the fabric material. It's nice, but if you were to drop anything that were greasy on this, or any type of coffee or anything dark or any type of soda, you would definitely stain this case, and it wouldn't look the same. One great feature about this case is that it does have a kickstand, and not just any kickstand. You can actually adjust the kickstand to set it to the angle that you want to view your iPad. The only drawback with this kickstand is that if you are pressing on the screen, you do get a ton of wobble and a little bit of shake when you are pressing on the screen. And there's also a big drawback with using this on your lap. And because it's a kickstand, it does take up more space on your desk. So if you were interested in another type of keyboard, you could go with Apple's Magic Keyboard, but you would need a separate stand for your iPad. And you would also risk the possibility of losing one of the keys in the future, but I think that can happen with any keyboard. I think purchasing the Logitech Folio Touch is the closest that you get to a laptop without even really having to purchase a full-blown MacBook. But two things that I do feel that the Logitech Folio Touch does do for you: it does improve the functionality and the versatility of your iPad. So would I recommend it? Yeah, it's actually the reason why I didn't buy Apple's Magic Keyboard. I hope you enjoyed the review. Make sure you like and subscribe. And this is Dave, over and out.